Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, and welcome to Luthiers Question Time Live, episode 75. This is where I answer your questions on guitar building in general, and, well, pretty much anything else you can think of. If you so fancy. It has been a while. It has been more than a while, actually. This is now, I think I've missed 3 whole weeks of streaming, and I have really missed this. It's something that I pretty much started about a year ago now, and I hadn't quite realised just how integral it had become to my week, to my life. But in any case, it's been interesting. So 3 weeks ago, or more, it was the Makers Central show up at the Birmingham NEC, which was an incredible event. I was there with both Crimson Guitars and the Vintage Tool Shop, and as an ambassador for Triton Power Tools with their very cool coterie of brand ambassadors, and it was an incredible weekend. Obviously meant that I could not do the live stream that Sunday, because it would have absolutely destroyed me. In fact, at that point, I don't think I was physically capable of talking. And the following weekend was the guitar show, the British Guitar Show, again back up in Birmingham, so it's about a 3.5-hour drive or so, depending on traffic, from where Crimson are based. And again, that show, a bunch of you were there, I'm sure. It was incredible. In fact, I think it was probably the best guitar show that I have ever taken part in. In all seriousness, I met so many cool people. So I re-met so many people that I had sort of lost connection with over the COVID period. And all in all, it was worth missing a live stream for. The one thing that didn't work out quite so well was that, of course, I picked up COVID that weekend. Now, to be honest, I was convinced I would pick it up at the at Makers Central, and was somewhat amazed I didn't. But the guitar show, you filthy bastards, somebody there was a bit of a super spreader, and myself among a bunch of people that were exhibiting that I've spoken to in the meantime also caught it, and it really knocked me for 6. Tanya and Byron again got it from me. The other two seem to be immune, which is great. But yeah, that then knocked me, and I was unable physically to do a live stream last week. Anyhow, look, that was a really long intro. I apologise. I am going to do my damnedest to keep the live streams going on a regular schedule from now on. And this is the live stream Q&A. The live stream builds are not going to be on Mondays for now. I'm hoping, I think, well, I'm not entirely sure how that's going to move and how that's going to adjust. But I do want to do more live stream builds. In fact, I'd like to do it on even more than once a week. Just have a semi-regular, hey, I'm in here, I get the cameras going, let's go for it. Just with a slightly different format. But yeah, it is, we'll see how that goes. Now, tomorrow and Tuesday, I'm road tripping on the way up to, well, tomorrow night, this time I'll be in York, and then we're going up even further north and then coming back down by way of various very interesting people, and there should be some fun stuff happening, and potentially some interesting news actually as well on top of that. But anyway, let me stop monologuing. Let me say hello, greetings and salutations. We have got Wolfer Guitars, Rob Tootle, GD Woodwork, Sweet Tea Guitars, The Big Unit, Lisa Harshberger, Luthier Builds. I have been watching, I've watched every single episode of your GGBO so far, and I'm really enjoying what you do. I'm really enjoying the way you're doing everything. Like, seriously cool work there, and across the board, from the guitar to the presenting to everything. If you haven't yet watched his build, please do. And Lisa Harshberger, people talking about Star Wars. Orson and I have been sort of beasting through all the Star Wars, the back catalogue recently, so it's all good fun. Anthony Cunliffe says, any news on the TV show, please? Absolutely nothing, nada. Nothing's happening on that front. The production company have gone quiet, which is apparently par for the course. They're now trying to sell it to Netflix or Discovery or somebody like that, and or sell the idea at the very least. It is what it is. As I've said in the past, if it does not hit, if it does not become a thing on terrestrial TV, then quite frankly, I am going to do it. I'm just going to do it myself and on YouTube, because it's something that I've wanted to do for so long, this particular format. Now, we have a super chat here. This is Sweet Tea Guitars. How's it going, Todd? Because we missed you, peace and love. Thank you very much. This is the first super chat of the evening. Yeah, I really do appreciate your support. The super chats help and yeah, keep everything up and running. Apparently there are other things. I've just had some messages from Stephen and Max saying you can gift memberships and things, or not. I don't think it's quite live yet for us, but there's all sorts of different ways that YouTube are making it easy to fork money over to them in the end. Anyhow, look, super chats will guarantee that I will answer your question. If you've got something that you desperately want me to see, then hit us up. I will absolutely answer your question. We've got various moderators in the chat, so if I miss anything, they'll let me know. And there we go. JS Trucking and Guitars, how you doing? Another regular who I've missed all of you guys. It's incredible. Says, good afternoon, Ben. I found a vintage compass plane. Couldn't afford it at the time, but the owner of the antique store put it aside for me to purchase. As a collector, compass planes are supremely cool. However, as a tool to use, as a tool to further your building, I would suggest actually leave it. In all seriousness, unless it was a particular steer that you're going to make a profit. I've used a compass plane. I am fairly sure I've only used a compass plane once. And essentially, so this is a plane where you've got an adjustable sole. You can have it flat, you can have it convex or concave. I think I did that the right way around. It's been a long day. And in guitar building, they're just not any use. I've bought a few thinking that they would be, and there was absolutely no point. So I would say leave it. Spend your money on low angle block planes, or well, any number of other tools that would be of more use to you. Now I'm aware that you're building in your truck, so yes, I mean there are, I'm sure, things that would be a better use of your money. However, if you're just into it as a beautiful, intriguing, really interesting tool that would be great to own, then go for it. Alrighty. Borgonian Evolution, how you doing? Says, we were all just saying on Spike's live stream a few minutes ago how empty life has been with neither of you live for the last 2 or 3 weekends. I didn't realise that he hadn't been live either. I've been. It's been insane. It really has been insane. Robert R says, I watched the student build of the bass yesterday. It turned out nice. I really am very happy with how that video has been received. I'm just going to have a quick look at the stats here. So it's been watched by about 12,500 people, which is a little bit higher by a small percent than our average lowest view at this point. But the comments are almost universally positive. Great new format, shows the students more naturally than an interview situation. The music broke the woodshop noise nicely. Keep it up. Fantastic looking bass too. A great talent, etc. That's just literally, well, that's 1971 Silver Surfer, who might well be popping up here. I am planning on doing more of this. Now, it nearly broke Talitha and Bear, who do the editing. They had 180, I think, gigabytes of footage to sift through, and it was all sort of bits and random stuff without the general audio, and it was a lot more difficult to work on. This camera is just off camera. We're not using it, but it was at a very weird angle, which is very off-putting. So yes, I'm going to be talking to more students, predominantly on the 3-month course, or returning students whose work I know will be interesting to watch and fun. But I think that a monthly video following a student build in this fashion would be great. And the videography was amazing. That was a young man whose real name I've now forgotten. I've started calling him B-roll. He's come in as a Kickstart employee. Then was an apprentice. Now basically we've just taken him on full time, working predominantly in our packing and shipping department at Crimson. But his nickname is B-roll, and he's fantastic at videography. It's like, I wish I had more work for him in that role, actually. Anyway, it's all fun and games. Will Zuidema says, how many different types of strings are there, and how do they change the tone of a guitar or bass? Okay, so you can, in general, you're talking about round wound, flat wound as your two main categories. You've got, on an electric guitar, you will have a standard set which has 3 wound strings, 3 unwound strings, i.e. the G is unwound. And that is what we are most used to. But if you're having an issue with tuning stability and don't tend to bend all that much, then a wound third, a wound G string is actually something to try. It does change the overall tone of the guitar, and yeah, it works really well. A flat wound set of pickups, a flat wound set of tuners will, strings will change the overall tone, give it a little bit more mellowness than you would expect with standard wound strings. And then of course you've got bronze or brassy sort of strings that are more traditionally used for acoustics, etc. And nylon again. You can have electric guitars with nylon strings, but again it's a vastly different sound. However, if you are saying, hey, this is an electric guitar, and buying strings specifically for an electric guitar, there aren't that many different things out there. Now, over the last 25 years or so, i.e. my career, we have had coated strings become a far bigger thing. And that is where essentially you'll have strings that are coated in something that makes them last longer. And a lot of musicians swear by them because, hey, professional musicians change strings a lot, and strings are expensive when you're doing it a lot. But a lot of other musicians don't like the sound that you get. You lose a certain amount of brightness, or you tend to. But in the end, as a builder, we currently use D'Addario. I'm actually wondering about switching over to a UK made brand just because it's UK made. But we currently buy large boxes of strings for 10 guitars at a time, and I just use a standard set of 10s on our guitars, and then the customer will change out to what they prefer when they buy the guitar. Now, if they commission a guitar, different story. We'll ask them what they want, and if they care, which most musicians do, then we put on exactly what they want and we set the guitar up for those strings. Now, another thing is talking about gauge of strings. There's a vast difference in tone between a gauge of, say, 8 or 9s and 11 to 13s, for example. I personally, if I could hack it, I used to play with the set of 13s as my just go-to on an electric guitar when I thought I was a musician. High action, heavy gauge strings, and it gave me a really punchy sound that I absolutely loved. But yeah, we go with 10s as standard on our guitars at this point. Alrighty, here's a super chat from the big unit. Thank you very much. Who says, I haven't even started my GGBO build yet. I know the feeling. My original idea got derailed, and then I got busy wiring up a 60 amp sub panel and circuits for my garage workshop. On top of that, I've been crazy busy with work. Okay, so I know somebody who can help you with the wiring from a health and safety point of view. Oh no, wait, that's you. I have the exact same issue. I get derailed on a regular basis, but for example, I've spent the entire day today, and I'm currently a physical wreck, working on the extension of this workshop here. There's an extra 4 by 4.5 meters or something like that square extension built onto the front of this, and Orson and I did a lot of the work 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, but internally it had yet to be insulated, and it's got no wiring or any of that stuff. And I spent most of the day putting ceilings and floors, and in reality I would much rather be building guitars, but these things come along, and food has to be put on the table, and it just is what it is. Now, that being said, GGBO, there is still time. I don't know what category you're in, but there is definitely still time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. See, what I'm fighting with here is the urge to give suggestions. And knowing what I know about you, and I'm not even going to go there, because that is just... we've got somebody in the chat called Duncan Biscuit. Says, hello everybody. Hello Duncan Biscuit, I love it. Cool name. Alrighty, so Sweet Tea Guitars is telling me to check my Instagram messages. I sent you some pics and asked a question. I think you'll like it. I will. I really will. Paul Needs. Hey Paul, how you doing? I assume Beth is in the chat as well. Paul says RE Elixirs. That's the sort of main brand of coated strings. I'm going from changing at least once monthly to 4 to 6 months. They break before loss of tone, and I gigged 4 or 5 times a week. I mean, that is the thing. I think when they first came out, there was much more of a hoo-ha about it. But yeah, it is the way it goes. So there we go. Paul is giving a hearty endorsement to Elixirs. Terry Love, how you doing? Terry says, will the extension be finished before next winter? 100%. Basically today I insulated and put the ceiling in. I insulated the floor and put the floorboards down. I'm partway through doing the walls, and essentially I'm expecting by this time next week to have the building side of things done. I'll have all the walls up. There's so much stuff in here. There is so much stuff in here that needs a home. We need to spread it out, and I'm now thinking about how I'm going to redesign this area, because my tool wall, my hand tool bench, that's going in there. The desk is going in there. I'm going to have a really cool office area with the tool collection in its own area, so that it's not intermingled with my day-to-day actual work. And then I need to redesign this workshop area with a timber store, etc. So it's still going to take a little while to sort the internals out, but I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Hugh McKay says, purfling cutters are sharp, awkward to use with a plaster on as well, by the way. Any idea when 4-in-1 fret rulers will be back in? That I don't know, but it should be imminent. Could you drop an email through to shop@crimsonguitars.com? No, I've lost that message. There we go. I'm actually surprised they're out of stock, to be honest. So, yeah, I apologise for that. There's a hell of a lot going on. Alrighty, Lisa Harshberger. Hey Lisa, how are you? Says, when will the bass go up on the main channel? I've been going through withdrawal the last 3 weeks of seeing it. It's one of those things, you all know I've got poor impulse control, specifically where it comes to the ADHD and the whole, just buying a new toy or a new tool or something gives me a fantastic buzz, and I love it. Now, one of the ways to treat that as an individual is to leave the thing in the shopping basket for a week before you actually pull the trigger and purchase it. And this is something that I've basically enforced you to do, because I know you love that bass and are already classing it as your own, even though we haven't yet raffled it off. That being said, I've got 2 or 3 hours, so probably 6 or 7 hours worth of work to finish the instrument. She's sitting in the corner there waiting to be done. I'm hoping to do that in a live stream towards the end of this coming week. I really just want to finish it. Now, I have to do the Ukraine guitar. The baritone is currently being built. That instrument is the next episode with me building a guitar will be either that will either be that or the final episode of Jasmine's guitar, and I need to crack on with a hand tool only build. Okay. Now, once the Ukraine is done and Jasmine's guitar is done, then the bass series will start hitting the channel, and as will the hand tool build, and a sort of interstitial kind of thing. But I also need to get moving on GGBO and the watch build. So yeah, I don't know how I've ended, well, I know exactly how. I've ended up with too many projects on the go at once, far too many. Not only this workshop extension which is being filmed, but all of the changes that are being made at Crimson headquarters, and 4 builds? Anyway, it's all fun and games. Soon, Lisa. Stephen Carey's come up with a £10 super chat. Thank you very much, Stephen. And says, hey Ben, great to see you back. It's really good to be back. I have a few frets that have sprouted and don't react to a light touch from a fret hammer. Which file or files should I get from the Crimson shop to get them back in line? Okay, so first of all, if they've sprouted, that really does sound to me like the tang isn't holding and they're sort of lifting up. So what you've done is you've taken your fret hammer and you've pressed down onto the top of the fret, and if it's not going up or down, then that's strange, but you know, wood moves and things happen. So the turtle moves. So yes, I would suggest that you get the Essential Fret Leveling and Dressing Toolkit, to be honest, because it is essential. Now that includes a leveling beam, which is one of these things which is, historically, it was not my favorite tool. I always thought that I preferred a leveling file, but this is actually more precise. And now that I've gotten used to them, this is my go-to fret leveling tool, as opposed to a leveling file, which you can teach an old dog new tricks, you really can. So it includes that, includes a crowning file and a fret rocker, which is absolutely essential for diagnosing exactly which frets are a problem and for double checking that everything's worked afterwards, and a notched straight edge, which is also pretty much essential. In fact, I had a repair the other day. I was desperate to finish that day, and I realized that my notched straight edge had become lost in transit at one of the guitar shows. And I had to stop and say, well, you know, I'm not going to do the level, crown and polish right now because I don't have the right tool for the job. So those are the tools that I would suggest you to get. An addition to the essential kit, not quite essential, but nice to have, is the fret end dressing file, which I would suggest is pretty cool. Okie dokie. And thank you very much for choosing Crimson. JS Trucking and Guitar says, do we have any updates on who is participating in the invitational competition yet? No, there's going to be a great big announcement when that happens. It's going to be cool though. I can say that we're going to be starting to ship out the kits to the invitationals fairly soon. There we go. Ha! New workbench. Who said something about my workbench? I just saw the word workbench, and it the chat ran out away from me. Duncan Biscuit says, Ben, I do have merch on the way. I would appreciate. Check it out. I will do. Unfortunate typo. Paul Cook is asking if the silver YouTube plaque has always been there. It hadn't. And it's actually very distracting looking at the image there. The YouTube chat plaque used to be above the door, which is now at about this height. So I need to cut that as part of this extension, and that seemed to be the only safe place to put the plaque. Although, I mean, it's so cool. I still we're at 300,000 plus subscribers now, and I still can't believe that I've even got that. It's cool. Lisa says I'm getting some fuzz. Okay, does anybody else hear an issue with the microphone? Let me know. Okay. Gabor says, hi Ben, nice to see you again. Just finished my semi-fretless 5 to 6 string bass. Fancy a before after picture? I would love that. One of my ideas for my GGBO instrument, and something I'm not going to do, not for GGBO at least, was to take the standard 6-string uncut kit and convert that into an 8-string partially fretted, so the bass strings would be fretless. And I think that would be a very cool video. But the point of GGBO is to raise money via raffle, etc. And not, I think an 8-string is a more divisive instrument that would get less bids, essentially. Okay. 141 people watching, only 50 likes. Come on, people. Now, Zach Webb has come in with a super chat, says, and thank you very much. It says, can a kit guitar be supplied for GGBO if I cannot afford one? I'm a beginning luthier and want to participate. Thank you. To a certain extent, yes, it depends on situation, and it depends on, well, drop us an email to office@greatguitarbuildoff.com, office@greatguitarbuildoff.com, and yeah, put your case. This is, after all, the whole point of GGBO. Now, where are we there? Okay, and I have not missed any super chats there. Fantastic. Okay. Oh, and Zach is saying he emailed through the website, but I haven't heard anything. There are some serious delays. As ever, we're really struggling with... I found the typo. We're struggling with keeping on top of the influx of messages and things. Lisa's asking, did you use a standard string set at Crimson? Yes. So at Crimson, you've all seen them. You've all seen them in the builds. I use the Dario XLs, and essentially I buy a box like this. It's got 10 sets of strings. No, a lie. It's got 25 sets of strings in it, and it's 10 to 46 is what I use as standard. and yeah, it's a good compromise between people who like lighter gauge and heavier gauge, and it's also fairly standard across the industry to put 10s in a guitar. Bulgarian Evolution says, "Oh, that reminds me, I need to officially add my name to the GGBO roster." Crack on. We will cap entrance at some point when it becomes something that people wouldn't physically be able to complete a build in the time. Then we'll stop entries, but that will not be for a while now. Anthony Cunliffe says, "Did Ricky run my future build idea past you at all?" I have no idea if he did. I get hammered with questions and comments about guitars on a sort of hourly basis when I'm walking through Crimson. Now, I will chase it up. But Ricky's actually been on holiday, although he is back now. Now. JS Trucking and Guitars says, "Not to mention, you also need to do a build that you can finish on time, unlike last year." Lol. Yes, I'm not going to do that again, I tell you. Sweet Tea is telling Paul Needs that he has the ruler as well, but he almost never uses it since he's got the protractor, which is awesome. I agree. I've lost my ruler somewhere, and I use the protractor all the time. So, yeah. Inky Guitar says, "I've been having issues using the logos on my laptop. Any ideas why?" I have no idea what would be the thing. They're just standard pings, PNG files. So they really should be absolutely fine. Your best bet, honestly, is to look at the file extension and Google the specifics of A, your system, but B, what you're trying to do with them, and see. It might well be that the program you're using just doesn't work. Rob Tootle, put yourself in a timeout. Fresh cream scones, just saying. Yeah. Gabor says, "Ben, the 8-string build would be awesome. Please make it happen." I really do want to do that at some point. I really want to make that happen at some point. So, yes, it just won't be with GGBR. Inky Guitars just made a binding channel solely with a shoulder plane. It took a long time. I do not envy you. Seriously, binding is one of those things that, and binding without a router, because routers scared me even more than binding. Binding without a router gave me many a sleepless night early in my career, and yeah, it's one of those things. Alrighty, Leon says, "Hi Ben, good to see you again. You too. I'm looking for a low angle plane and found an Axminster Rider number 62. Do you know if it's any good? Or should I go for a more expensive Stanley or Luban?" I love the Lubans. I absolutely love the Lubans. That's what I use here. And I do have the Lee Nielsen, which the Luban is a copy of, a cheaper copy of. And I really like that. The Lee Nielsen is a Crimson where I'd hardly do any work anymore at the moment. And this is here. So between those two, Luban is absolutely fine. Now, the Rider actually is a really nice plane. If the price difference is, say, 20%, I would say, and you can get it, I would say go for the Luban. It's made by a company in China called Guangsheng. They're really good. The Axminster Rider plane, I am fairly sure is made in India. And it is not as good, but it is close enough. And with a little bit of fettling, you will be able to use it, and it will be absolutely beautiful. It will last you for years. It isn't... Why am I even saying this? I just like a nice plane with a bronze, the bronze and this. It's just... I think that this is also a more delicate plane. If I recall correctly, the rider is slightly bigger and chunkier and a little bit heavier. I may well be wrong though. So yeah, the rider is fine. It really is. Wolford Guitars is coming with a super chat. Thank you very much, and says happy belated birthday. Thank you. It was my birthday. Yeah, at the guitar show. Here is a $5 after YouTube get there cut. Dude, I appreciate that. So you sent £7.15. I tend to forget that YouTube do take a cut. Us people born in May must stick together. And that's is a birthday. Oh, clinking of beer mugs. There we go. And now I'm craving a beer. It's been one of those days. Thank you very much. And thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Robert R. with the good question. Ben, have you ever thought about building a harp guitar? Yes, I have. I really have. And one day I will do exactly that. In fact, that's something else that occurred to me for GGBO. It could be fun to take a kit and turn it into a harp guitar. Daniel Taylor is building a 12-string bass with a nut width of 55mm. Would you recommend 2 truss rods and 1 central carbon rod, or 1 truss rod and 2 carbon? I would suggest 2 truss rods with 3 carbon fiber rods. Like, seriously, no shit. Absolutely, I would have the 2 truss rods. I'd have a carbon fiber rod on. Do that. And I would also go multi-laminate neck, just to be even safer. Now, it does, of course, depend. You could have a 12-string bass that's, I don't know, a short scale and essentially like a 12-string guitar with lighter weight strings and not actually that much tension. That, come to think of it, sounds like a really cool instrument to build. One of our students this past week built an incredible short string bass that just blew me away. So yeah, but with 12 bass strings, I would suggest err on the side of caution, emphatically. Yeah. Okay. I've been distracted by a very pretty piece of wood over in the corner there, which, yeah, happens to be fairly regularly. Now, keep the questions coming, people, or we are gonna go. Bill says rider planes are great, but you need to set them up before using them, otherwise excellent. I absolutely agree. 1971 Silver Surfer. I read your comment on the other channel to the people, and I thought, oh, he's going to turn up, or they're going to turn up. Recycled planes, you gotta love old tools. I absolutely agree. John Hutton says building an electric sitar would be fun. You can buy those. You can buy a bridge system to build an electric sitar as an off-the-shelf tool, which is pretty cool, or part at least. Ooh, JS Trucking Guitar says, at least I finally found a router plane. Now that is cool. They don't come up very often, and the prices have gone through the roof. Okay. The big unit says, I still wish Ernie Ball sold a box like that. I usually buy strings, a dozen packs at a time. Yeah. This is the thing, and I think that's the reason why I use the Tadarius, to be honest, is purely that. Duncan Biscuit says, is the build stream still happening? Not tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the time that happens, I'm going to be up in Birmingham at the very least. I'm visiting... I'm visiting a number of guitar shops around the country on the way up to York and beyond. So there's a road trip tomorrow coming back on Tuesday, so I'm not going to be back in the workshop until Wednesday. There is a chance that I will do the end of the base build at some point Wednesday, Thursday. Well, yeah, say Thursday or Friday. I will do a live stream build, finishing the bass, and then maybe working a little bit on the baritone guitar as well. Inky Guitars asks the best way to clamp binding. Gibson use in a tube. They use rubber and they wrap it around, and there is a technique to it. It is nowhere near as easy as it looks. I just use good quality masking tape. I will tear up an entire workbench worth of strips, have it sitting there ready to go, and go around, and that works. JS Trucking and Guitars is back in with another super chat. Thank you very much, mate. And says, I have a full set of vintage planes now, and the router plane was $65. Only that price because it has an aluminium sole. I mean, that's a steal for a router plane, seriously. Now, for those of you that find router planes, if you find one with Preston or one with Tyzac on it, and the Tyzac one will be on a sort of locking nut with a three-legged star sort of logo. Those two router planes in particular are worth stupid money. We're talking 300 to £600, if not more, depending on what you've got. So, and those are the bigger ones that are about that big. There are some smaller Preston ones that aren't worth quite that much, but the big ones. Duncan Biscuit says, do we know what day? I really don't. Lisa says, so did you sell any or take any commissions in Brum? No, we don't tend to sell guitars. Okay, let me rephrase this. We are in the process of completely rejigging our entire production range of guitars. I only had maybe 3 guitars on the stand at all that were even for sale. Most of the guitars that I took were my YouTube builds. That being said, we have done a deal with another builder, and we're going to be white labeling guitars for them, and that's potentially going to be essentially, we hope, up to 10 guitars a month just for that builder. And this is something that we offer. We can go anywhere from building essentially a kit version that then goes to the luthier and they put it together and finish it and do all that sort of stuff in their workshop, or we'll just build something with another Luthier's logo, and the whole thing gets created and then shipped out to them, and from there they sell it to their dealers or shops or customers, etc. So there was a very major deal that went on there. Most of my time was spent talking to other luthiers and talking to other businesses in the sphere and feeling out where we're going to be moving forward as a company. Now, I'm incredibly excited. It was the most successful show that we've had from that point of view. Yes. George Davis says, is it better to install frets before or after carving the neck? For your information, I finished my first neck and destroyed it by burning it. I wanted a charred look for my whiskey barrel guitar. I have been there. Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. Personally, I prefer fretting the neck while it is uncarved. It just feels a little bit more solid. Now, that being said, it's not a hard and fast rule. If you have got a clamping core like this one that Crimson sells, and your neck sits in there, that makes the fretting nice and easy as well. So it's one of those things. Talking about router planes. Who was this? Luther for Build says, I just bought a cute little Veritas router plane and I love it. So did I. So at Maker Central, I got the router plane, I got the miniature scraper, I got a pair of miniature marking gauges, and I also picked up the miniature jack plane. I'm going to make a baby shooting board for this. I can justify it by saying, hey, I'm going to do a video about the whole lot, and that's my justification. And we're yeah. They make lovely little tools, they really do. So what can you do? Wolford nearly bought a Stanley number 6 Type 15 for £72 yesterday, but the sole looked in bad shape. Soles can be fixed, even if it's really sort of janky. Something you can do, and I'm not sure on the longevity of it, but with a particularly pitted sole, you can use it's a 2-pack epoxy used for fixing metal. I can't remember what the stuff's called now. Not Aerolite. That's a JB Weld. I've seen people use JB Weld to fill the pits and smooth the whole thing down, and it's really hard stuff, and apparently it works. So yeah, go for it. Jeff's Guitars says the piano shop video was cool. I really did enjoy that. Duncan Biscuit is booing me because I'm not doing the build tomorrow. I'm sorry. Leon says, thanks Ben, the difference between the Ryder and the Stanley is about €50 with the Luban right in between. Honestly, I'd go for the Luban. I really would. Terry Love. Terry, how you doing? Terry's come in with a super chat. Thank you very much, Terry. And Terry says, Ben, you are working to having one of everything in your toolbox, shed, warehouse. I 100% emphatically am. I love tools. I love making, I love creating, I love guitars, but if I couldn't make guitars, I would make jewelry boxes or furniture or something. For me, it is the act of creating and the tools, and I am so lucky that I can justify things like this by saying, hey, you know, I'm going to do a video, and maybe in 3 years' time, the ad revenue from that video will have paid for the tools. And that's what I tell my wife, and that's where we're at. But yeah, I'm a collector. I'm a collector, and I'm in a lucky position that I'm able to. But anyway, okay. Ooh. Okay, Rune Anson's come in with a super chat from NOK, Norwegian? I'm not sure. Says, hi Ben, some videos ago someone mentioned bluing the strings and you look like an excited trout around the bait. Question is, have you? And would plating like silver or gold ruin the string's properties? Okay, I haven't, and I really do want to do it. Now, the reason I haven't yet is that the best way to blue metal is on a it's essentially you make a box, and in that box you fill the box with a load of brass filings, and that sets the thing that you're going to blue above the surface of the it basically allows it to work properly. And I want to do it, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly. And I don't have that box yet. I actually do have the brass filings. I just haven't made a metal box for that. That being said, I do think that bluing the strings could potentially cause... it might not be good for the strings. I have, however, seen gold-plated strings before, and there is at least one company that make that their signature. So look for gold strings. They are still available, and they're sold as sounding amazing because, hey, it's 24 karat gold, and of course plating something in gold makes it better sonically, or in any other way you can possibly think it would be improved. Gold makes that happen. The musician who uses gold-plated strings will be more virulent, will be louder, will sing better, etc, etc, etc. Your fingers will be less stanky, your guitar, etc. You get what I'm saying. However, it is possible, and I don't think it materially changes the sound of the guitar. You're talking about a micron thick coating being applied to an already metal string. I think it would be fine. And yeah, it could be fun. Hell, clickbaity video. I platinum coated my guitar strings, and you'll never believe what happened. Da, da, da. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Hi people, how's it going? 148 of you, 88 likes. Well, that's all right. Robert R. Hey Robert. Robert R. says, I was the one that was suggesting that you need to build your workbench before you start your GGBO 22 build. That is a good point. I really want to do the workbench as a kit, using the CNC machines and laser cut parts potentially. But it also needs to be done absolutely right, so it might not happen in time. GGBO is soon. Terry, very good point. Terry Love says, bluing the strings, could you use a cold blue kit used for touch-up on guns? I once cold blued a Bowie knife and it looked great. Yes, you absolutely could. Birchwood Casey make a fantastic chemical bluing system. And yeah, I don't have my pens in. Hold on. Okay. Coming to a YouTube channel near you soon. Chemical bluing of guitar strings. I'm going to do it. I think that's a really good idea. Thank you very much, Terry. Alrighty. Hold on, what did I see there? Wouldn't the blue wear off with use or be impractical if you play a lot and regularly change your strings? That's 1971 Silver Surfer. Potentially, but this is the fun. Paul Need says, John Entwistle latterly used gold-plated strings, commercially available. The name escapes me at the moment. Optima. I think Optima may well... Optima Gold. That's it. Yep. Rob Tootle has confirmed that beforehand. John Hutton just looked up Sitar Bridges, a company called EYB. They look pretty easy to fit. You might have to try one out. I think you can... I think that you can retrofit them to standard guitars as well if you are if you're interested. Jules, who has been a member for 2 months in the Awesome Source membership level of the channel. Thank you very much, Jules. Says, hey Ben, thanks for the tools that have arrived and are currently still on the way. I'm on my second guitar right now, continuous multi-laminated neck, maple and purple heart, and the body African moor ash. I have not heard of African moor ash. Google to the rescue. Timber. I don't want to look what a tree looks like uncut. Come on. Scintillating viewing, isn't it, people? This is not an easy thing to find. Anyway, sounds interesting and fun. So, excellent. Continuous multi-laminate maple and purple art neck and African moor ash body. Sounds cool. I'm going to be going and looking at a load of very, very sexy timber soon. So, yeah, I'm in the mode. JS Tracking Guitars is coming again. Says, I just emailed pictures of my most recent vintage plane and the router plane to the stream email. Now I think I can actually pull that up now. I won't be able to show you guys because I'm not set up for that yet. Nope. Ooh, there we go. Very cool. So your router plane is, it's a user-made plane, and this happened a hell of a lot. People take a standard Stanley sort of 71 router plane over to their mate who works in the foundry, and they sandcast using that as the template, and you end up with a cool new plane, buy a blade or whatever, and go from there. And your wooden plane, yeah, it looks like that would make a really cool jack plane at some point. So there we go. Now, what have I missed? Give me questions, people. Give me questions. Wolford Guitar says, I bought the mini chisels. Do they do mini chisels? Veritas. Okay. If I'd seen those, I would have got those as well. Damn it, they do as well. Well, there's something else I need to buy. Or make. There's something else I need to make. How's that? I'm just having a quick look. 3.2, 6.3, 9.5. No, they're not small enough. I'd rather 1, 2, and 3 millimeter like these chisels I made here. Anyway, we'll get there. The Stanley and Record router planes take Veritas blades. That's from Kevin Harvey. That's a really very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Lisa's asking, did you buy anything at the show at all? At the guitar show, I bought those tools at Maker Central, the miniature Veritas stuff. At the guitar show, I came very, very close to buying a 1987 Paul Reed Smith Custom 24. And hell, I mean, I had them down to... It was a deal. Really beat up guitar. It could have made an interesting video to restore it and restore the finish, etc. But on really close inspection, I saw that the whole neck at some point had been broken off. And I probably still would have bought it, actually, if somebody else hadn't come in and bought it. And he then came up to me and was like, Ben, I bought this guitar, and then tried to sell it to me. But it's all fun and games. So no, there were many things that I looked at and lusted after, guitar-wise. There was an incredible 59 Les Paul replica, full on, just amazing. There were 2 of them actually at the guitar show, one for $6,000 and one for $15,000. And I would really struggle to spend that much money. Hell, I struggle to spend even £6,000 on a guitar, considering I'm not a musician. I'm just buying them for intellectual curiosity's sake. But yeah, some really beautiful things, just incredible. But in the end, no. I bought, however, a couple of pedals from Redbeard Effects. They are made by Thorpe, Adrian Thorpe, Thorpe Effects, for Mikey Demas from Skindred. Skindred. How does one even pronounce that? And it's the fuzz pedal in particular. It's the first time I've tried a fuzz pedal that actually made me go, holy shit, I like fuzz pedals. So there we go. Oh, Stephen Kerry, welcome to the membership. He's just joined, all that jazz. Thank you for your support, and I sincerely hope you get everything that you want and more through Yeah, through being a member. Brian Jenkins says, I have Tootsie Roll syndrome when I see a tree fall. I'm assuming, I don't know what Tootsie Roll is. That's a treat that you have to eat when it's open. So you see a tree fall, you have to pick it up and take it home and turn it into guitars. Crevi says, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow, so I'm out for today. Have a great evening and a fun stream. So do I. I also will not be going for huge amounts of time tonight. I'm going to be up and out soon. Rob Tootle says, I've just invested in the Veritas Honing Guide Mark II and narrow blade head. It is a very, very cool tool. Now I started I sharpen without honing guides and was taught without honing guides, but ended up with the Mark II as well. It was actually a gift. I think Mark Jennings gave it to me. But it's an amazing thing. I wish I used it more. Lisa Harshberger says, I can't find a straight answer if I need carbon rods or truss rod for bass ukulele. Always truss rod. At a bare minimum, always truss rod. And if you are... I honestly don't think that you will need carbon fiber. I don't think you will need carbon fiber rods in a bass ukulele. But if it makes you feel better, it certainly won't hurt. Emphatically. Ian M says, Ben, scarf joint or laminate an extra layer on a neck? It's too thin to be a one piece. Scarf joint. So in the end, a scarf joint. Hey. Mark is shouting at me about the beard. My gosh, come on. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. A scarf joint gives you a stronger neck overall. Okay? Making a single piece neck is an aesthetic choice. It is not there for strength. It's because, hey, I used one piece. It's easier to machine. It's more wasteful. It uses more material because you do end up needing to have a thicker neck blank to start with, but you don't have any joints, and that is the thing. Now, if it is a question between doing a scarf joint and utilizing the piece of wood, or randomly adding another piece of material underneath the fretboard in order to make it thick enough to then make it a one-piece neck, that's... yeah, scarf joint emphatically, and with bells on. Yeah, meanie. Dum-ba-dum. I'm quite happy with my beard, thank you very much. Okay. I'm looking for questions. Here we go. The big unit says, does anyone else see downed trees and wonder if it would be worth buying and milling it? Lots of storms and high wind here recently has taken down some big trees. Always. I always think it. And the most important thing to be aware of is access. If the tree is down in the middle of a bog and it's going to take specialist equipment to actually get to it, then it's almost certainly not going to be worth the hassle. You also need to be very aware that it's going to take a couple of years, and you're going to have to store it for a couple of years at least to dry. You're going to have to either chainsaw mill or find somebody with a wood miser or something like that. And yeah, oftentimes it is cheaper just to buy wood that somebody else has gone and done this too. But the temptation is always there. Alrighty, wood glue or 2K glue for carbon fiber rods. This is from Jules. I use super glue generally to glue in my carbon fiber rods. Super glue or epoxy would be fine. Wood glue would also actually do okay. It won't glue necessarily to the carbon fiber. It will hold it in place and stop it rattling, and the fretboard holds it there. So it would fill any gaps, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I use CA glue. Ian M says that was my inclination as well. And this is for the neck. He says the neck blank is roasted maple with a PRS style head. Yeah, scarf joint would be absolutely fine. Now, roasted maple is very chippy. Be aware of that fact. Go gentle. If you're going to use a router table or anything like that, bandsaw away as much excess as humanly possible before you get routing. Dear Head Fridge, what a name. It says, I'm going to embark on my first kit, a 5-string bass. My daughter wants to do the painting and the wiring. She's going to study electrical engineering in college. This is one of my favorite things, is when a family gets to do these projects together. We sometimes have best friends or family members come and do guitar building courses at Crimson, and it is always an absolute blast to watch them work together or compete sometimes. Yeah, I think I'm very much looking forward to building guitars with my kids as they sort of evolve and grow into even more interesting people. I don't think I said anything that's going to get me in trouble there. Alrighty. Casey McDermott says, I'm getting ready to move to a property with a lifetime supply of ash that has to be felled. I'm likely building an air drying shed. I would love to move into. That sounds awesome. Lisa's saying, I do need a bit of a trim. Fine, people, leave me alone. It's been a long couple of weeks. Okay. Alrighty. Barry Christian says, did you see Tim Sway's surface mount dump diver pickup video? And is it something Crimson might make? I did not see it. Tim is a fantastic individual, and I would love to work with him more. I saw the dollar bill pickups that he did. I saw the rusty nail pickups that he did, or at least the nail pickups. It's all good. So yeah, I'll check that video out and let you know afterwards. Bill says, do you know why there is a shortage of tight bond glues? I do not. I'm just gonna go, the world sucks right now. I use Alkaline Original generally, although we do have tight bond in the factory as well, so maybe that's going to hit me soon as well. Lisa, are you going to tell us who you're white labeling for? Please, please, please. Not allowed to. Several people, but no, contractually not allowed to. 1971 Silver Surfer says it needs to. They need to work on storage. Hold on, I'm just going to read this. Hi, need to work on storage for my plane collection. At 15, outgrown my current display board and don't look as good laid flat. Mainly Stanley Bailey's records, lol. Hashtag old ool's rule. You missed the T there, but I want to know what an old ool is now as well. This is a big issue. So, funnily enough, we've got there's a Sam who works at Crimson. He's the director of operations. He came up with a design where essentially the plane sits in a little thing there, and then you've got a notch that flips over and locks it in, so it literally physically can't move. We want to make those, or I want to make those. God, this is a beautiful plane. Out of acrylic on the laser cutter, and it's something that we want to sell, and it should end up looking like basically the plane's just sitting there floating, which, yeah, I know your pain, and the one piece of advice that I would give you is make it as flexible as possible, because the second you've designed it and built it around a specific set of tools, you will get a new tool, and it'll be slightly different in size to the one that you've currently got there that you're replacing. Terry Love says a list of least to most chippy woods. Is there one? Probably not, no. Honestly, torrefied or roasted woods in general are more chippy than any other woods. Please excuse me, super tired. I can't actually remember, other than torrefied woods, ever having major chippage in the same sort of way. Other than torrefied, it's going to be burls or heavily figured, rippled wood that does tend to chip out and tear out. And that tends to be maples. But yeah, it's one of those things. Okay. Yeah, Casey, I didn't realise that we didn't have footage of that glow-in-the-dark base glowing in the dark. That is... and this after I've said, hey, we had some wonderful footage. So, yeah, I apologise for that. Hugh McKay says, I have zero interest in older guitars and like new ones, and have zero interest in new cars, but love classics. Odd. It's not... For years and years and years, I was all about my guitars and not interested in any way, shape or form in the vintage stuff. And now I find myself looking at old Les Pauls and LP Juniors and SG Juniors and you know, Jaguars and things like, yeah, 62 Strat, that could be cool. How much? So, yeah. Casey then goes on to say, regardless, it was such a good build. This is the glow-in-the-dark base. Inky Guitar says, tips for burning a guitar body. Be quick, be lots of fire very, very, very quickly, and then move on to a completely different area. And be aware that around the joint, you will open the joint up. It'll be opened up to, you know, maybe a millimetre or two below the surface of the guitar. This is absolutely fine. It's not going to damage the instrument in any way, shape or form. You may well need to go in with some black stain or something to fill the inside of that, but don't worry about it. Even black superglue would also work. But yeah, lots of heat applied rapidly, so it gets very hot very quickly and then it cools down very quickly. That's the trick. Okay. Anyway, everybody, I am running low on energy, and I do need to be up very, very early tomorrow to get on this road trip. So I'm going to call it, let's give it another sort of 5 or 7 minutes. If you have any questions, please hit me up. Casey McDermott says, Ben, I totally got to see the glue shooting like a geezer out of the carbon fiber channels this weekend. Yeah, been there, done that. Wear goggles, absolutely. Toby D says, Ben, does your water-based finishing oil work the same as your high build oil, and can I use it on penetrating oil? Do you know when the high build will be back in stock? Why the hell is the high build not in stock? The high build should 100% be back in stock, unless... Now, there are some... there was an issue with... I will find out tomorrow. Drop an email through shop@crimsonguitars.com and we will get back to you. It should be imminent. It should be imminent. It's not something we generally have problems with supply. Now, when COVID first hit, one of the ingredients was not available for a while, and that did cause some trouble. But I thought that had all been sorted. Does your water-based finishing oil work the same as the high build oil? It's water-based, it's a different substrate. I personally wouldn't put it over the penetrating oil. It's it is a different material. Yeah. That being said, if you've got the penetrating, just build the penetrating up yourself. We only had, the penetrating was the standard oil for about 3 or 4 years, and we eventually ended up developing a higher solid version of it because people wanted a high build. So for a long time, for the longest time, I used the penetrating oil as the entire finish. Hell, my 12-hour guitar, I applied basically 10 minutes worth of oil, so 2 or 3 coats worth in a short space of time, and that was the entire finish on that guitar for like 5 or 6 years. We only recently put another coat on. It's fine. Okie dokie. Terry Love says, I've seen quite a few maple and sycamore woods used. Anyone ever used London Plane? As a kid, there were a lot of them near where I lived. London Plane is it's a Marmite wood. I don't particularly like the look of it, but the grain structure, it's almost lacy, actually. The grain structure is something that a lot of people do like, and yes, it's available as a timber that you can buy. It has been used in guitar tops. I've used it in guitar tops, and I think I've used it in a neck as well in the past. It's there, it's available. If you like the look, use it. Absolutely. Now. Boom, 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 boom. Paul Cook says if you grow the beard long enough, you won't need the dust brush. Yeah, CVG says grow the beard long, that way you can have a dust collector. Get Tanya to braid the beard for you, Ben. That's from Beth McKellar. Beth. Humour Case says Tight Bond is currently in stock at Rutland's, which is good to know. Ah, that's it. Wenger and Zebrano maybe near the top of the list for chippy woods. This is from Ian M. Zebrano definitely, yeah. Terry loves telling me to leave the beard alone. ZZ Top. I realized at the guitar show. I'm on a sort of a self-knowledge kick kind of a thing this past year or two. It's scary. It's scary. But I realized that, hey, that what I've always wanted to be, always, was a motherfucking rock star, excuse my language. And I, you know, even though I'm not actually a rock star, I still want to have that sort of image and look and feel and thing about me. And gosh darn it, if I want a giant, great, big frickin' beard and to cover myself in tattoos, which I currently don't, and wear the chains and the biker jackets and stuff, I'm gonna bloody well do it. But yeah, it's like, yeah. Ooh, Casey, I missed your super chat. Casey McDermott sent a super chat, said, I watched the student Hex guitar bass build video. That was a ton of fun. Excited to see what's on the horizon. Cheers. Happy belated birthday. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I nearly missed that. I was sent the video of that sort of late in the edit process. Friday morning, Talitha sent it to me, and throughout the whole edit, we'd been saying, oh, Ben's going to have to do a voiceover. Ben's going to have to do a voiceover. You know, if Ben's not in the video, people will complain, but also it's going to be really boring because there's not very much going on. It's just, you know, there's not very much. And Talitha sent me this video and I was sitting there watching it with the thing recording. 13 minutes in, I realized I hadn't spoken, and this damn video did not need voiceover. And I watched the whole thing, and it was the best start to a Friday I've had in a long time. And I really enjoyed the video, and it's the first time in a long time I've seen something on my channel that was utterly new to me. I knew what the bass ended up looking like, but I didn't know what the footage was like. I didn't know that the banter. I didn't know how cool the whole thing sounded, and it was great. There were some issues where the B-roll, when he was doing the footage, had the microphone plugged in but turned on, so there wasn't even camera audio coming in. So we had to have some voiceover, some music in the background, etc. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that you guys did too. Luthier Builds coming with a $10 Canadian super chat and said, "Hell yeah, Ben, rock the frig on!" All caps. I love you, man. Thank you. And I've always wanted to be a rock star, or at least have that sort of rock star persona kind of deal thing going on. And yeah, why the hell not? Why the hell not? Lisa says, "Ben, check out the Rockstar programming language. It's a hoot." Okay, I will do. Fukumi says, "Ben wants to be a rock star, gets head tattoos. Lucky he found a wife with patience." I got the head tattoos after I was even married, a number of years in. And I was like, "Hey, darling, I'm thinking about getting head tattoos." She's like, "Yeah, go for it." Didn't even want to see what they were. She's like, "It's your body, go for it." So yeah, she's pretty cool. Wilford Guitar says, "I support you in your midlife crisis choices." It's damn it. Now I'm gonna have to question that again. Deerhead Fridge says, "Ben was in the video. There was a picture of him in the workshop." That I want to take that thing down. Lisa Harshberger says, "Honestly, that video was really well done. The puppy was cute too." The puppy was actually our students can choose to live in hotels or bed and breakfasts, or they can choose to live with a variety of hosts who are basically families who rent a room out to our students almost exclusively. And Schoolie, who built the base, was staying with a lady who had that dog, and he ended up bringing the dog in to the factory for a number of days. I think the lady he was staying with must have been away or something, and he was looking after the dog, and it was the most amazingly well-behaved little not so little puppy, just so friendly and nice. Fukumi says, "So we're getting our live stream build this week. Not on Monday. I'm hoping to do one on Thursday or Friday. I am hoping to do more during the week, but probably without the support of somebody else on the computer. I will stop and answer questions on a regular basis, but it'll be more me filming and talking as I normally would. I love this, but the realization that I had is that the live streams, trying to build while also fielding constant questions, while also thinking about the video, is one too many things, and it was actually stressing me the hell out. So while I do want to do the live stream builds, I really do, I need to change the format a little bit. Anthony Cunliffe says, "I described your head tattoos to people as an awesome moment of conviction." That really was it. It was, I did not want to be employed in a normal job. I did not want to ever do that. I wanted to make my business work, and I got head tattoos partially as a way to ensure that I would never have to get a normal job. Lisa says, given the sinusoidal nature of a vibrating string, what use is fall away, please? As you move down the string, i.e. when you start to play at the 12th fret or so, if your whole neck has got a bit of relief, then you start to get buzz because of exactly that. So essentially we've got up until the sort of 12th or 14th fret, you've got a standard bit of relief, and then you've got fall away. So as you work up, that counteracts the string and stops and reduces buzz. Casey McDermott says, Tanya sanctioned the head tattoos? Multiple question marks. She's a keeper! Exclamation points. Paul Need says, Ben, steamed beech, any use for a laminate neck with mahogany? Yes, nice, stable. I don't find it particularly attractive, but as a wood, it's a really good wood. And it will be nice and stable. Paul Cook says, the lunch break in the workshop made me chuckle. I'm so glad. I didn't see that bit. Talitha just mentioned that she had all sorts of footage of that. And I said, you have to put it in, you have to put it in. She's like, but I have got to now find it in 180 gigabytes of footage. I'm glad she found it. There we go. Okay. Brian Thomas, Black Dog Vintage Racing. You sound very cool. The head tats pretty much say it all. Be the rock star you want. Hell yeah. Matthew Fletcher says, I had to use your head tattoo so my friend could get a photo with the right person at the guitar show a few weeks back. Oh, and cheers for the autograph. Absolute pleasure, Matthew. Okay, everybody, look, I'm going to call this an evening. It's been an hour and a half. I've got an incredibly early start tomorrow morning. So, look, thank you all for watching. Thank you for coming back. It has been 3 weeks of insanity. This live stream on Sunday evenings is back, and the schedule will be as per normal. I am going to be doing more live streams on a semi-random basis as well. I've got some little projects that I wanted to do, and I've got some builds that I need to finish and stuff that just has to happen. And I really enjoy you guys being along for the ride. So there we go. Thank you. Go make some sawdust. See you next week. Goodbye.